perfect. My favorite.
Okay. I've got all the connections going now. And we are now live. There's that final little button that we are live today.
Okay. Good
We'll
morning.
do a little bit of chit chat for a few moments while all the connections get completed. It is Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve. Can you believe it?
I don't know, but I have my cup that says "Dear Santa." It's a long story.
Oh.
So I'm all covered over here, and I got my joy on.
I don't know if Santa has time for your story today. He's going to say, "Wait a minute, Sherry.
It's Eve, and I don't want to be in trouble." Good morning. Somebody's on here telling us good morning, but they need to be.
Good morning, everyone.
If you want to let us to know who you are so we can interact with you, be sure to do that accepting on Streamline, right? Is it under
StreamYard? It's StreamYard.com/Facebook, and you'll see it at the top of our screen. You don't want your name to show? That's okay too. Just go ahead and join in the conversation. Today we are talking about joy. And I am Terry Ann Porter, life coach, TA. I help to find that confidence to defeat those lies of negative self-talk and to replace them with the truth. My co-host today is Sherry Berger. Sherry.
Good morning. So good to see everybody. And I am Sherry Berger, and I am the owner of Here to There Consulting. And we educate business owners with those tools to balance life, business, and finances. So we got to have all that in balance. Debbie, we can see you. Stephanie, you do have to accept, unfortunately, every time you come on. StreamYard doesn't play well with Facebook. And it's great to see you this morning, Debbie. And today we are going to talk about joy. And what is joy?
What is joy?
I got the joy down in my heart.
Does joy mean that I'm jumping up and down, all excited, and everything in my world is great? Is that joy?
Hasn't everything been great in your world? I mean, 2020's just been awesome.
Yes, you're right. Oh my goodness. Yes, you're right. So joy and happiness are two different things, aren't they?
Yes, they are. Or, being more content and having the real joy and the peace in our heart, right?
Ooh, content and peace. I like those words.
Good morning, Debbie. So, yeah.
So even if things are not going well, I can still feel a joy. That's kind of hard to explain sometimes, isn't it?
It's also hard to do.
Yes.
It's hard to not lose that, right? And I don't know about you, but there's been, I don't know. We have families dividing this year, which is horrid. We have businesses struggling this year, which is horrid. We have so many things going on in our life. I don't know if you've noticed my Facebook, but one way I've been trying to find joy is to see the sunsets and the sunrises.
Those are some beautiful pictures you are sharing.
But I mean, that reminds you who's in charge.
Yes.
God. And Stephanie, good morning. We can see you. We know who you are and you're on. So that's so great. But no, just to find where is what do you want to call it? Where are you finding those joy moments?
I like that word you use, find. We have to find it and we have to choose it. Joy doesn't just happen.
It's just right. Where are they at times? And some friends of ours, I don't know if you guys listen to 88.5 Christian radio, but I listen to it a lot. And there's a song about, I'm not going to let anyone steal my joy. So no matter what's going on in your life, right? Joy, you can always hold on to. You can always hold on to it and capture it in small moments, right?
Mm-hmm.
This year, I bought a friend of mine this coffee cup, and it says, enjoy the small moments, or look for the small moments, or because I know everybody's shocked if I tell you that I have a collection of coffee cups. I love coffee and I love coffee cups. And sometimes, depending on my mood, I pick the right coffee cup. Right?
So I pick the right teddy bear. To me, the teddy bear reminds me of childlike love, childlike faith and fascination. A child could be, a child so fascinated with, a dandelion. A child gives you a dandelion and they feel like they are giving you a bouquet of roses. They feel that excitement, that joy. So when I look at my teddy bears, I am reminded to find that childlike love and excitement in my heart and to find it. So as you can see, I've got my little teddy bear here with but you guys don't see all the teddy bears that are over here in this corner. They are just a reminder to me to smile, kind of like my tiara, a reminder to change my way of thinking.
That's funny because Mickey Mouse brings me so much joy. And I know that sounds corny, and I've loved him since I was 3. And anybody that knows me knows I like Mickey. So we remodeled our house when we first bought it, and we spent about 7 years. And Mickey was boxed up. I mean, there was a few because Mickey's everywhere in my house. I know, little crazy. But anyway, when I started unboxing them, I couldn't believe, right? Something from my childhood that brings me joy. But people will think I want Minnie, but I don't. It's always Mickey.
It's always Mickey, huh? Okay.
But it's good to remember, right? Those little childlike joy moments in your life. So, yeah.
What are some ways that those of you who are watching, what are some little things that you do to remind you to be joyful? How do you choose joy? It's not always easy to do, especially this year. Something I did recently, I bake cookies. I love to bake cookies, especially in the wintertime. I took cookies to neighbors that I'd never taken to before. And I said, I know this year, and I greeted them and I said, I know things are difficult this year, and a stranger comes to your door with cookies. I know how that is scary. I handed them I said, I just want to do something to bring joy. I handed them the recipes. I said, in case you want to know what's in them, here's the recipes. And by the way, the shortbreads call for pecans. I put no pecans in there because I know people are sometimes allergic to nuts. But here's everything that is, all of the ingredients that are in these items. I promise. I just want to say Merry Christmas to you. And the ones that I gave it to were very, very happy and glad to accept it. And I was pleased at that. One didn't answer their door, but I figured they just missed out on some good cookies.
Oh, you didn't leave them on the doorsteps, but I guess that would be.
Well, we have some critters that like to wander.
Well, that's true.
And I was afraid if I left cookies out that critters might get it.
So we have Grace on here, and Grace always spreads joys with her sending out cards. She says she can only be here for a minute. She wants Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And I wanted to make sure to let everybody know Merry Christmas and Happy New Year,
Christmas to everyone. Yes.
And I know a lot of people with Christmas this year say, I can't find Christmas, right? Or, the joy or the... Mm-hmm. So my husband wasn't real. I don't know. Of course, he's a UPS driver. He has to work a lot. And this pandemic's made him work even more. And we're trying to put up the tree, and he's like, man, not my favorite thing. And I'm like, not your favorite thing. You love Christmas, right? So finally, when I explained to him that I really thought putting Christmas lights outside and having a tree in my window was really, really important because little kids are riding their bikes or hanging out and just to see those, right? And Allison says spending time with family. Oh my gosh, I love my family, and I love my friends. And in saying that, I miss my family and I miss my friends because spending time with family is not the way it was right before March.
Right.
And so many people can't spend time with family. And that's so heartbreaking and so hard. And Mrs. Extrovert over here doesn't like it, just let you know. Right? And maybe the way you're doing it is on Zoom, or maybe it's, doing it with just smaller groups or, right? My birthday, there was only 12 people and we were in my backyard. I didn't even
only 12? No. There were 12. Not only
you don't understand though, my husband claims I collect people, and there's usually 20, 30, 40, you name it, right? And recently we just had a friend that had a big birthday party on Zoom. How cool is that, right? So if we just have to spend time with our family and friends in a different way.
Yes.
I'm expecting my first grandbaby in March, and I got and it's not brand new, but I got a tablet. They bought me a tablet for Christmas because they're like, Mom, we can Zoom, right? Now, God willing, I'm going to get to see the baby, even if I have to get this shot and wear a mask and wash hands, because grandmas are going to do whatever they got to do.
Grandmas are going to go there, yes.
But we're going to see how that is, right? Stephanie said that I was over the limit with 12 people at my house in September.
Oh.
That was in September. I don't know what the limit was in September, but that was the last time I got together with, if you want to call that, right, a big group, because we can't do that right now, and it's crappy. And my family, my extended family, there's a lot of us. And, I see my siblings. Well, it's weird because Christmas, Thanksgiving, we all come a little different times, but I usually get to see them either coming or going, or you know what I'm saying. And this year just hasn't been the same. So
how do you get past the I'm hurt that I can't get together and into the joy of what you can do and what you do instead of, so how do you change your focus to what you do instead of what you can't or don't do?
Well, I will say, I don't know about you, I've met some amazing people this year, and I've gotten to know them on a deeper level. I know Kathy Weaver's
you know me better.
Yes, and Kathy Weaver's on here, and Kathy Weaver has a lot of networking. Yes. And I've gotten to know people in that group, and I've been in networking events that I wasn't in, because I was too busy, right? Running here, running there, and not that I'm not busy now, because I am. It's a different busy though, right?
Right.
You know what our Toastmasters Club is doing this year? First time ever, Terry Ann. And I want to invite everybody.
What's that?
We are having a New Year's Eve party on Zoom.
Oh, wonderful.
Usually New Year's Eve, we decide, because that's the 5th Friday, which is one of our extra meetings. And this year, I think it's starting at 9. I'm not, but we decided to have stuff like 9 to 11 instead of 7 to 9. So they've changed the time a little bit. But I mean, you maybe are alone, and maybe you're at your own. This year I was empty nesting
during this has got to be hard.
And a pandemic. What in the world, right?
Empty nesting is hard enough. Yes.
And my daughter was supposed to graduate through the pandemic, and she sort of went to college, and she's sort of been home, and it's been a interesting year, right? And you have to deal with all those emotions of that poor child that's going through, right, this crazy transition.
So how did you make it a joy? How did you make joy in all of that?
It's perspective, right? It's the way you look at things, right? I will tell you that my youngest is mini me. I know. Is that scary? But I tell her, right? She was born in the middle of 9/11. I lost my brother in 9/11. She was 6 days early. She's like, oh, and now I graduate. And I'm like, yep, God has big plans for you. And you're very determined. And you are very, adaptable. And you are very, right? So what have you learned through this?
Oh,
right. And having my classes online and not going to class with not what I want. And I'm like, nope, it's not what you want.
Sure.
And what did you talk about with teddy bears and kids' perspectives? I think if we look at a lot of what's going on this last year from a child's perspective, they've had to learn to be very adaptable. Online schooling, not hanging with their friends, or maybe one of my nieces, she learned that there's a thing called Zoom. Right. And she's 12 and she's similar to me, and she's very extrovert and she loves it. Now, my 10-year-old niece, she goes, Zoom. Why would I get on Zoom? I can't play with my friends. And I just want to play with my friends, Dad. Come on.
Yes.
See, one wants socialized, one wants to play. Well, I think they both want to play, but yeah.
Sure. So
it's always about your perspective of
what's going on
now. So during the Chiefs game on Sunday, I'm going to let you know, I had to run in my backyard. And you're like,
run?
Yeah. Do you know the sunset showed up? And I couldn't miss that. And my husband's like, what are you doing? And I'm running outside because it was a beautiful sunset. So I've changed my perspective that I don't want to miss those sunsets and sunrises, right?
Allison points out, always back to perspective. Perspective.
What are some of the things that you've been doing, Terry Ann, or other people in the audience? We would love to hear from you.
Debbie says, every day needs to be a Tuesday. Debbie does some great Tuesday posts on her Facebook.
She does. And she also has great networking, and she has a coffee on Tuesday. And I mean, yeah, she's been doing so much to support the community and all of this, and really appreciate her, right? So yes, we find ways to do that too.
Allison says this is her first conversation with us, and we are so excited that you are here, Allison. That brings joy to my heart that you have joined us.
And we started doing this. What session are we in?
This is, I believe this is 15.
Yeah. So about 15 weeks ago, we started adding this group, and we did it because I'm a business coach. Terry Ann's a life coach. And we realized how much the community, right, is struggling with trying to find some of those balance or and we thought there were some great topics. I mean, I'm really, really excited about next week because we're going to talk about goal setting.
What are we talking about next week? I mean, it's not a big deal, is it?
Always my favorite time of the year. And everybody always thinks it's Christmas, but it's because as a business coach, this is when people want to plan and strategize and set goals. And by the way, we could do it all year round, but this is when I can get people on fire about it.
Next week, where today is Christmas Eve. Next week is New Year's Eve.
Well, there you go. That's what we're doing, and we're going to roll with it, right? But finding joy. I just want to know, what have you done? Like, you gave me some. I do know in the morning I've woke up some days. I think I've gotten better. Well, actually, I think it's a lot about behavior and practices and attitude.
Oh, behavior, practices, and attitude, huh?
Yeah. So I wake up, love my coffee, but I always do my Bible study in the morning, do my gratitudes in the morning. And sometimes your mornings don't go exactly like you want. I told you this week I've had a couple negativities that I've woke up to in the morning, either a bad text or somebody's inboxing and I'm like, oh, can't let somebody else steal my joy.
Right.
And what's going on in their life, and why are they acting like that? And what do they need from me? Except for they don't need anything from me right now. And you're like, what? No, I need to fill myself up.
Yes.
I need to drink my coffee because, sharing her coffee. And I need to do my devotion, and I need to do my gratitude, and I need to figure out what I need. And that's not being selfish, but fill me up so that I can come and say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry this is going on. And I can be there for others, because I love people and I love being there for others. But if you're not there for yourself and fill your own joy up, you really can't do that.
You can't pour out what you don't have. Stephanie's, Allison clarified, no, I've been on before. It's just her first one with us was when we talked about perspective.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Realizing that perspective issue, yes.
Again.
And Stephanie's, she's always joyful that although she's on call for this weekend, she won't be for other holidays. So you find the joy where it's at, and choose the joy.
If you're on call this weekend, this is a good weekend because we're stuck home in a pandemic. Because next weekend, Stephanie, we have to get together and party. Come on, right?
Hey, would you please? You invited everyone to this Toastmasters New Year's Eve Zoom party. Would you later on in the conversations on Facebook post a link so that where people could get information?
Yes, I will definitely do that.
So be sure to look on Conversations with Sherry and Terry Ann a little later in the thread and find out, if you want to join. Reed and I met online through an online, they were just chat groups at the time. This was 21 years ago. So we didn't have Zoom. We didn't see each other face to face. Had no idea what everybody's faces looked like. We would just each living on opposite sides of the state, go home, sitting home alone, go into the chat room and just chat and laugh and talk with people online.
That's interesting, right? And
So-
that was 21 years ago. When
So-
now we have Zoom and we have this and we have right. And I've talked to some of my friends. I mean, I've been married forever and a day, right? And I'm married, love my life. But I've talked to some of my friends that are trying to date during a pandemic. That's interesting, right?
How do you date during? Wow.
I don't know. Don't ask me. I'm not dating. Okay. Let's not even go there. But all I'm trying to say is they've told me that you have to communicate more. You have to meet on Zoom. Meeting in person is a little more difficult. I'm sure eventually they meet there, but I think it's slowing down and making you get to know in general, right? It's getting you to know people more. I've had coffee on Zoom like you wouldn't believe. I've had happy hours on Zoom like you wouldn't believe. I've had, right?
Now, having met Reed online, I always make it a point to say to people, when you meet someone online, you still need to meet them in person, especially if you're going to create a relationship. Because like when we were in this chat room, we could be sitting in the chat room, telling jokes, laughing, and sitting on our couch, bawling our eyes out. So you still need to, you have an online persona and you got your real life persona. Sometimes they can be two different things. So you still need to meet people, especially if you're going to have a relationship.
Oh, no.
Find out
And
when
then
you're at a restaurant, how do they speak to that waiter? What do they do when they can't find a parking spot? There's still different, there's still some differences there. So I've always want to make sure that I point that out, that, you still gotta, there's still more to it than just this. But this is good. I have joy in this.
So just looking for the joy in the small things, right?
Look for the joy in the small things, whether it be a teddy bear, Mickey
or a coffee
Mouse,
cup, or Mickey
a
Mouse,
coffee cup.
or your crazy Santa hats.
What brings joy? What little things can bring joy? Because you can, in the middle of just a real difficult situation, you can see just one little thing that, things are rough, but that little thing brings joy, brings hope.
Oh, this is a funny joke. We can't see you because you need to step through StreamYard, but how did the calendar fall in love on January 1st? It was the first date. LOL.
Oh, very good. Funny little jokes.
The funny thing is I met my husband 30 years ago and we did it old fashioned. We were in college together and went to JUCO together and accidentally ran into each other in the parking lot at JUCO because it's not that big of a parking lot. Yeah, no, back then it was too. We would purposely park the same places and, the corny stuff that you do. But it was back in that was funny because that was 30 years ago and you're talking about 21 years ago, which really is not that much difference. That's 9 years, right? But it's amazing how people, and nowadays even the way people are doing. But I am not a date expert for this time era. Sorry, I've been with Sam. So I wasn't going there. I'm just.
I found that by putting up the lights, the Christmas tree, and putting up the lights, that brought some joy. I was getting very discouraged over things. I had this one thing I had to do. I had this great big 10-foot dining table that every week used to have people around it. It got to where I didn't want to go into that room anymore, which is kind of hard because that's the room where the front door is. I had to go through it and I could see it from the kitchen no matter what. I had to take the leaves out and make it smaller.
Did you put your teddy bears around it?
I do have teddy bears in there. Yeah, I didn't think I should have put teddy bears in the chairs. I didn't think of that. Oh my gosh, now I got to go put the table back together. But when I made it smaller, now all of a sudden, the room has all this extra space. So I put up a Christmas tree.
You don't want to know.
Always got a small one.
You don't want to know what I'm doing my dining room table. I thought it was for organizing papers.
Well, ours does end up getting used.
But
that
I
way.
don't ever do that because my friends claim I have people over here once a month. It's every 5-6 weeks. It's not once a month. And in a pandemic, we can't do this.
We can't do it.
And now. You just said that Thanksgiving, I had a tiny bit of my children, right? That's all I had. I'm going to have a tiny bit of children this time, but I do have to clear my table so the tiny bit of children can sit.
That was the thing about having people over once a week. Reed said, Well, I know that once a week she's going to mop the floors and clear off the table.
Well, and I don't know about you, but everybody's like, oh, I didn't clean my house because I had no time. Well, now we have time.
Now we have time. Now why aren't we doing it?
Now my house is not messy, but it's messier than I want it to be, right? And if I knew I was having people over, like you said, every 5-6 weeks, you've got to do a thorough clean because you got people coming over.
Oh, we're not the only ones with stuff on our table.
Look at this.
We were talking about husbands, and Stephanie met hers in a laundromat where she worked. And now Debbie says, yeah, right now her table is covered with Christmas boxes. So we're not alone in this.
And
but
I somebody saying, I remember meeting you at church. I think you're a great person. How sweet is that?
Oh, that is so sweet.
I think that might have been Life Church. I don't know. I always call myself a life crasher. I love churches and I like to go to different churches. But I like that you have Christmas box covering your table. She work all day. She's remote, but she works all day is what Stephanie.
Her table. I've seen her table. Her table's covered too. Yeah, and that is one thing about
my table would not before the pandemic ever been covered because what did you just say? People came over for coffee,
right.
People came over. And now all of a sudden in the last 9 months, life's been different, right? And the couple small gatherings I've had have been in my backyard. This weather though, oh my gosh.
Oh, the weather's been beautiful.
I know. I went for a walk the last 2 days, the last 2 days because it's been gorgeous. And my husband even said, I'm just going to let you know, my husband said this week as a UPS driver, he believes that they're caught up, but we'll see. But he says the weather, right, has been awesome. Yes. And they usually have snow and sleet and all this. And I don't want to see these words because they're going to happen. But look we made it. Christmas is in 2 days? And have you seen our weather in Kansas City? Now, I don't know where other people are, but Kansas City, our weather has been amazing. People have been out.
What, 60 degrees yesterday?
Huh?
60 degrees yesterday?
Uh-huh.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And our sunsets and our sunrises have been amazing. And I don't know who's seen the Christmas star, but oh my gosh, right? Because if you look for those small, amazing joys in your life, it's too funny. Have you ever been car shopping and you're going to buy I don't even know my cars. Then you start seeing those cars everywhere, right? If there's a certain car you're looking for. Okay, so if you start looking for sunsets and sunrises, you're going to see them everywhere. If you start looking for happy moments, you're going to find them everywhere. Now, I have bad news for you. If you start looking for everything that's going wrong in your life, they're going to keep showing up.
Yes.
So it's all about changing your perspective, right? And I love to tell people it's okay to have a bad day. I have a bad day. I'm not always joyful. I know people think I have a great attitude and and most generally, yes, but I have bad moments, right? Because I'm human and it's okay to brain dump and have those bad moments and get all that yuck out. But then let's change it back over to Thanksgiving and praise. So,
and I was thinking of a conversation we had a little earlier, and I've had this one with a couple other people recently. Out of the blue, somebody will make a comment or do something to pretty much tear you down. And we can really let that destroy our joy. The question to come back with is, would you go to that person for advice? If you won't go to that person for advice, don't take that person's criticism and go back. Don't let them steal your joy. Don't let that person come in and steal your joy with their negativity.
And there's actually a song you can go Google that says, I'm not going to let anybody steal my joy. They played on 88.5. I love that. Stephanie is saying that you got a mug and she didn't get a mug, Terry Ann. What was this mug thing?
Oh my gosh. Oh, I got this mug from Stephanie. She's ordered one for herself. I don't know if you can read this.
What does it say?
You're on mute.
Huh?
It says, I think you're on mute.
Oh yeah, I seen that. Because, I've been running my whole business on Zoom. I do workshops. I do masterminds on Zoom. All this crap, and you have to tell people they're on. And then a Toastmaster world, which Stephanie and Terry Ann and I, we're always telling people you're on mute. That's okay. I had a mean, not mean, but I was at a networking event, right? I was on Zoom, and I was having a moment and had my Sherry on full capacity. Yeah, have you ever heard Sherry when she starts saying, on doing her hands. And so they decided to put me on mute. How mean of them. They were being funny with me, but I was like, really? So now I can't even give my perspective of this whole situation.
Oh, the advantage of being the Zoom master.
Yes, we can see you now.
Welcome.
Welcome. Well, we are going over and next week.
It's the end of the, it's the top of the hour. What are we doing next week?
Next week is New Year's Eve. Is that what it's called?
Yes, and our topic is
goal setting. We're going to start talking about what goals we have and where we want to go for 2021. Because you know what the good news with 2020 is?
What's that?
What we're going to be in, a pandemic. So when we go into 2021, we're still going to be in a pandemic.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Take our perspective and find our joy and still set some of those goals. So we're going to talk about that. So if you guys want to come back next week and bring those goals, we'd love to,
love
come up with ways that we can set them and have a great perspective in that. And I want to wish everybody on this call Merry Christmas and go find the joy and see how you can help others find the joy too. And I'm here if anybody obviously needs to have coffee or talk. I really do want to reach out and let people know that because I know this can be a lonely time and we can meet
here
or whatever. And Terry Ann is here and we're here to spread the joy. So Merry Christmas.
And choose joy.
Bye, guys.